This team's going to give me high blood pressure. That's not the only thing I can open with. Thanks for bearing with us, ladies and gentlemen. I decided to pause this one a little bit because I had to just wait for the Leeds game. And thank God it's finished now and it's 0-0. So we are top of the league by the skin on my freshly brushed teeth. Oh, that was a terrible performance. Coming back to the game, obviously, Millwall won out of absolutely nowhere. I don't. I mean, where do you even start with that? Considering the high that we were on against Birmingham City, then to come into this game with that, it only started playing at 89 minutes. Other than that, it was kind of the first half. I mean, I'll tell you the notes I had for first half. And what was it called? There was some other bits where I went, "What on earth is going on with this? Why? What one?" It wasn't it wasn't a god awful performance. It was just frustrating. I think that's the main thing to think about. First half, we were playing some decent football. There was some really, especially early on in the game, there was good passages of play. There was nice 1-2s happening. Sometimes there was a chance for KDH and Mavididi had a really good partnership down, I think, about 5 minutes in. Millwall started. We started slow. Millwall started quick. Could have had a couple goals. The warning signs were there from Millwall right at the beginning of the game. And we didn't, again, as you mentioned, Sean, again, shout out to Sean. We didn't show up. We didn't. And when we decided to go, then the clear click, it was 90 minutes. And then they started to play. Why? Why 90 minutes? Why can't you play quicker earlier on? And we started off the half. The first 5 minutes, not very good. After that, we kind of dwindled into something else. And then, oh my God, there was some really good opportunity, and then it just never came. Millwall, credit to them, for any Millwall fans watching, deserved to win the game. And the statistics will back that up. Well, I'm not going to go too much into the statistics, but Millwall gave it a go. And they deserved to get something out of the game. We, considering what happened on Saturday, coming into this game, it was ours for the taking to really step up. And we haven't. There are going to be other teams that drop points in this league. It was almost too easy. And we made it look easy for them. And there was something that I went into and that coming in second half, I was like, good half, just need to be quicker. We need to be quicker with the ball. We needed to, and it's something that we did against Birmingham. We sped the ball up a little bit and we got it out to the wingers. We managed to get them in decent positions and we created more opportunities. Second half, we didn't start really that quickly. And the game just kind of trundled on like we were 3-0 up. And I understand we want to play possession way. And I think you've heard me on this channel go, I want to see the possession style of football and understand, but it needs to be in the right people in the right positions. Now, if this is something at the ground when I was at Birmingham City where we'd pass the ball around in their penalty area. That's fine for me. Keep them under the cost, keep them pressure. If you're passing it between Callum Doyle or maybe it goes over to Vestergaard to Fast to back there, and then they start to just jog up the pitch. It's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call because we've been let off the hook. The fact that Leeds have drew today, they're looking at us going, they've dropped points, but Leicester lost. Okay, we're still in it. And that's how I'm feeling as well. There's going to be twists and turns, and I think all three teams, Ipswich, Leicester, and Leeds, will end up with over 100 points. And my God, it's going to be stressful till the end of the season. We've got a few more weeks left, and we've just got to find a way to get through. And then so we were on top for a little bit in the second half, for that 5 minutes until the goal came. This is football. You will have times where they have nothing going for them, and we need to go in and just. And they went in and they snatched it. for me, what was a disappointing thing, and we've mentioned this before, maybe it's because the team played on Saturday. I don't want to give it too much of an excuse, but maybe. But when the goal went in, cracking goal, by the way, I was trying to pick faults with Hermanson wasn't really a fault. Was it the person marking? I think Longman was his name. It was just a cracking goal. And you've got to give credit where credit's due. That was a cracking goal. Sometimes these happen. Football, freak things happen out of absolutely nowhere. And this was an example of that. My problem with how it, which was to do nothing. There was other opportunities after that where we just slipped up and we let everything go loose as well, which I wasn't a fan of. They could have finished that game 2-0 after a while as well. I've lost my notes, but they could have been up. They should have been 2 goals ahead. I think Obafemi had an opportunity, and I think VAR potentially brings him down the penalty area. He's through on goal. There was a couple of other opportunities where Hermanson saves our bacon towards the end as well. And then after that, before we have a little bit of an onslaught from Millwall, after that, because they did have a little bit of possession. Enzo, the first time I think this season, remind me if I'm wrong, 3 substitutions at once. So we had Vardy for Iheanacho, then we had Ndidi for Pratt, and then we had Dole for Justin. He did swap for Tao and Eunice. Well, I think Eunice was tidy on the ball. And in the first half, before we go on to the triple subs, Eunice played some good football. He was tidy. It's the first time we've seen him start on the wing, and he looks a lot more comfortable there. He did lack a little bit of physicality at times, but I'm not going to pick on him too much because he made it with just pure sheer effort. There needs to be something said because that wasn't good enough from the team. Coming into the triple substitutions again, Vardy and Iheanacho made sense. Doyle for Justin. I was speaking to Anil during the stream, and he was mentioning as well that, yeah, that's the sub that we could made, and it made sense. Ndidi for Pratt made sense at 72 minutes. But what really changed? I've got nothing until 88 minutes. There wasn't really anything we created. No driving forward, lethargic. It was just slow, and by the time everybody had switched on, it had been 90 minutes. And I'm like, well, why didn't you do this earlier? And you look at the Birmingham City game, and that's where the energy came. But it was just lethargic. It really was. There was 3 substitutes. The first time I believe that we've seen a triple substitution, and by Enzo in one go in a championship game, and we did nothing really with it. Winks then came on for Daka, and I've just put 88 minutes Operation Kitchen Sink. I called it because that's what it feels like. We were just throwing the kitchen sink at them and seeing what sticks. It was I won't say dreadful, but it was at times going, oh my God, what have we done? Why have we left it so late? And Daka comes on, and that was an awful header by Daka, but it's not his fault that we lost the game. There was loads of moments throughout the game that we didn't just create enough. We didn't want it enough. I want to see Enzo's commentary because he will be calm. He will go, look, this results will be fine, but it's from the highs of 4 days ago to just go, oh, we're back in. It's like, because what happened is that we went from it's in our hand, we've got a game in hand, we're going to keep going, we'll go on to the next game, and we'll start to like secure our place at the top of the table. Now, I think we are top of the table. Let me get this up. This might not have loaded, so let me just reload it up. Championship table, and so yeah, 1 point behind. Yes, Leeds have got that game in hand. Ipswich are yet to play. Don't know who their game in hand is against. But as you can see here, it's a 3-horse race, really. I think Southampton won today as well. But my God, why has it happened? And I don't want to be bipolar, but it seems like I'm being bipolar, where I'm congratulating the team for how they played, and I was singing their praises against Birmingham City. Now we just have to wait. We just have to wait and see what happens, because the Ipswich game will matter. They've just come off. They weren't that great. I went to watch the Norwich game. They weren't that great against that, but we're just hoping whatever their next fixture is. Let's have a look at that together. See if we can find that, because we just have a good performance, stinky, and it's just a bit annoying, really. And as you mentioned, mate, if you want to jump on, let me know. Again, I've sent you the link, I think, before. Just rubbish. Just wasn't good enough. And I hate being bipolar with this team because I really enjoy what we're doing, but today it didn't work. So we've got, God, that shows you how far away that was. Millwall, let's have a look at this one. Ipswich have got Watford at home in the next one. Don't think anybody else there really worried about. Rotherham already relegated. There, thanks, Sean. Yeah, Watford in the chat. And I don't know what to say. Okay, mate. I'll send it you later. Oh no, you're here. Anyway, I'm just gutted. I'm just gutted because this was an opportunity to really go to the next level. Mate, are you there?
Yeah, can you see me?
No.
Oh, probably for the best.
Okay, but yeah, I know you were saying. I'm frustrated, man, because it's just the highs of what happened on Saturday. Like, right, we've got it back. The results worked in our favor. I see you now, mate. And now it's all just feels like we're back at square one.
I'll tell you what, we got off massively lightly with the fact that Leeds haven't won tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you, and that's the reason why I delayed the stream, because it was almost. I was delayed the stream. It was the only time I think I've ever delayed a stream, but because of that result, I just had to find, because that would have made the difference on not how we're going to react, and I need some time to calm down. But there was we were just lethargic. I think somebody used it before, but it's not like they didn't care. It's just I think we've talked about it. I like the way that Enzo plays football, but this game needed. Why didn't we play like in 90 minutes at 60 minutes or 45 minutes? We would have got something from the game.
My thing is, Millwall set up perfectly, and like you need to give credit to Millwall because defensively they were an absolute brick wall, and we got nothing from them. Obafemi, was it their centre forward? Brilliant, absolutely got himself above the pitch and made himself an outlet. But you could see Mavididi and Atgun both getting doubled up on, and then the midfield was being packed. It's like we played straight into their hands by trying to play intricate passing through the middle of the pitch. It's like, and we didn't use the width anywhere near enough. It's like, it's one of those, you want to talk about Dewsbury Hall, you want to talk about Mavididi, etc., being the best players in the league. These are the kind of games where it's not quite going your way. You need one of those players that class up here to show that they are up here.
I'm with you. And I think today, mentioning, I don't want to slander the entire team, but two players you mentioned, Mavididi didn't do it today. Didn't really beat his player the entire time, really. KDH was another one.
Can I just say something about Mavididi quickly, whilst we're on the topic? It wasn't just that he didn't beat his man. He did the same move 4 times in a row, but his defender read 4 times in a row. Remember how Harvey Barnes used to get slated for that? Absolute pelters. And Harvey Barnes, and I don't care what anyone tells me, Harvey Barnes is 10 times the player Mavididi is. I think Mavididi's brilliant, but like when he's on it, Mavididi's absolutely fantastic. But when he's off it like he is tonight, absolutely infuriating. And what frustrates me more than anything about it is the fact that the only time we caused Millwall any problems was that last 4 minutes.
Yeah. Why did it take so long? And for 1 second, why did it take so long? And that's my thing as well. Luke, I've sent it to you, mate. So again, I've sent you the link onto it. I can send you again. But yeah, in terms of that as well, I don't know what I can say that's not already been said. But what do you think is so bipolar? Because again, with Bristol City, with Birmingham City, it felt like it was coming, but Bristol City felt like it was kind of a similar performance.
I feel like the opposition fans and like playing away from home is massively getting in these these heads, because at home at the moment, and like people will laugh at this because our atmosphere is normally crap. At home at the moment, it is bouncing, and like it is really, really bouncing. Away from home, I feel like the fans are getting on my back, and Millwall played the game perfectly today. Like, and every time, like their ball boys kicking the ball away, like their fans holding onto the ball, letting them run down the clock. You know what? I know people will be mad about it. Fair play to them. Fair play to them. They did everything they needed to do to get a win. But for me, it just felt like from minute 1 to minute 90, it was exactly the same game plan of just pass the ball, try and find the space. There's got to become a point in a game where you realise that you've been doing the same thing, these intricate passes the whole game, and the only team that's looking dangerous at any point in the game was Millwall when they nicked the ball off us on the counter.
Yeah. And they were playing some, even if it was more precise, it was more direct, and as bad as it sounds, Luke, to be honest, after they scored the goal, it only really looked like one team that were really winning.
Yeah, it never felt like we were going to score. Can I just say, I think personally, the biggest takeaway from this game, it was nice to see Enzo make a lot of subs out of desperation. But for me, I think he got it all wrong by swapping both our eights, because there's something to be said for the link-up play. I know Fatah wasn't playing, but Yunus, I thought actually was decent in the first half. But not having Fatah and Didi working together for their link-up, and as well as Keenan Dewsbury-Hall and Mavididi, I think there's something to be said for that. And I think that was something that we were lacking.
I guess so, but I think that's a minor issue compared to just the old lethargy in general around the team. It was just lacking. And again, they turned it on after 90 minutes, but it was too late. It was too late, and the game kept ticking, kept going further and further away from the man, and it just seemed like there wasn't going to be a response until oh my god, it's only 5 minutes left now. Let me see if I can have a go and throw everything at it.
Yeah, and it's like the problem is we gave ourselves a mountain to climb, because like particularly somewhere like the Den and like any away ground, but particularly the Den and sort of these kind of places, if you go and you attack the game from the start, you silence the crowd, you let the crowd and you let sort of the place become a factor in the game, then like you make it a much harder game than it needs to be. But at the same time, it just felt so similar to that Bristol game. Just as soon as the wingers were doubled up on, you keep the midfield tight and compact, and they were almost happy to let Wout Faes, Callum Doyle, and Vestergaard have the ball, because they knew wherever they were going to play those passes, those passing lanes were cut. So it's like there needed to be more movement off the ball. It was all static, and it was all like it just felt like it went really basic.
Mm-hmm. And it felt like Millwall were fantastic for it, but didn't feel like they had to work too hard, to be honest with you, Luke. And after a while, they were like, is that what you're going to give us? Okay, we'll absorb this. And they got confidence from that as well. The fact that we didn't really have a response, and we'll see our heads dropped, but we just didn't seem to do anything until the goal. And even after the goal, did we really step up that much? I remember I just read the 3 substitutions we made after they nearly put a couple more past us, and it didn't really make a difference.
It did. I think it did a little bit, but like, to be fair, it looked like they were going to score a second before we were going to score an equalizer after they scored. The game opened right up. It's just, I don't know. It's difficult when teams are going to come in and park a bus against us, but at the same time, like, you can't always walk the ball through the back of the net. I don't know. Like, it's just, I think Mavididi didn't have his best games. I thought his fullback got the better of him, to be honest. I know he was absolutely everywhere. He's going to be proper sore. But I don't know, mate. Like, Ant, can you imagine if Hamza was playing that game? We would have been absolutely had our pants pulled down.
To be fair, not even trying to stake up for Hamza, doesn't matter. We lost. No. So if we lost 5-0, 7-0, 1-0, 0 points.
The only thing is, like, in a weird way, I'm glad we play so quickly on Friday to put that right, because we've seen how these kind of losses can drag and drag and drag. And it's like, the only positive from this game is the fact there's another one in a couple of days, and the fact Leeds didn't win. So all of the positives from this game aren't actually about this game.
I'm with you, and just a couple of things as well to mention. There's something I just want to pop this on mind now as well. Leeds are ahead on goal difference. Now, I'm only mentioning this because it's only a point, and it could literally be a point that separates one of the teams, goal difference that separates one of the teams going up. We're on 43. Sorry, Leeds on 43. We're on 42. So
We've got a game in hand, though.
come with a game in hand, but it could come down to the wire with that.
It just feels like, do you remember last season when we got relegated? It felt like a death by 100 cuts. Feels like the reverse of that this season, doesn't it? Just is it getting promoted or bottling it, death by 100 cuts.
It feels, yeah, and also knowing the financial impact as well, what's happening off the pitch with the whole FFP situation, and that's only adding to that pressure, especially from us as well.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, like these players put themselves in a situation where the pressure's on them. Like there was a video that went round earlier today. On this day last year, Burnley won the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Like that could have very easily been us if our players hadn't completely mentally collapsed for about a month and a half.
I mean, I thought the blip was over, Luke, and it seems, again, without sounding too, I hate being bipolar with it, but it seems like we had 2 wins. I was feeling confident. Okay, we're going to be turning a corner. Now it's all kind of back into it.
I won't say that just yet. We've had 2 big wins. We lost to a worldie. Yes, it was a frustrating game. I'll wait for the Plymouth game before I start saying we're back in a blip again. I think that's maybe being a little harsh. It's easy to be like that, though, after the month that we've just had, and going by what Ant said, that is proper depressing. 17 or 15 point lead, and Burnley won on this day last season, so that sucks.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Not even trying to get. It's just one of those again, but negative thoughts kind of spiraling that. And get Adam's in the chat talking about April game again as a living Plymouth got offered a free ticket. Plymouth are pushovers who have a great atmosphere. And I think they're fighting down the bottom of the table as well. So again, they're going to be fighting for their lives, as you're mentioning, and it seems like the home form. Where are they?
But the only thing is about Plymouth at the moment is that they're absolutely fighting for their lives. Not particularly a good team. Millwall aren't a particularly good team, but they're a team that will work hard, will be disciplined, and if we're not at it, they will do exactly to us what Millwall have. And this is where, like, Enzo Maresca, as I've said, as much as I like what he's doing this season, and I've like reiterated this point a lot this season. I love what Enzo Maresca is doing and the way that he's tried to change the style of play, etc. Like we can carry on with that for however long. This is the business end of the season. This is the crunch time. This is where the chickens come home to roost. Like,
and it's not exactly like we've. Sorry, mate. I think it's not exactly like we've got the weaker squad or anything as well. We've got
and that's it. And
squad.
When we bottled stuff before, like top 4, we had abundances of injuries. Like I still think it wasn't like I still think we should have got over the line, but we had abundances of injuries. We had the weakest squad out of the teams compared to what we were competing with. At the moment, we've got the fewest injuries. We've got the strongest squad, the strongest depth. Like at some point, there needs to be some accountability. It's like this now needs to, like, it feels like the season's on a knife edge. Like Plymouth feels like it sets the tone for the rest of the season. But this was just a one-off, and then you sort of your Norwich and your Birmingham was sort of where we're at, or we've scammed 2 wins and we're still massively in a blip.
But you say that if we come after Plymouth, we've then got West Brom, Southampton.
You know what? West Brom, I fancy ourselves against because they're secured in playoffs, nothing really to play for anymore. Southampton, very similar. And they're both going to have a go at us. Neither of them are going to come to the King Power and sit everyone behind the ball.
But this shouldn't be the case.
It shouldn't be, but like we've seen it tonight. That is how we play. When everyone's behind the ball, we struggle.
Yeah, and it's not like it's the first time it's happened. Sheffield Wednesday was another good example of that. There was there's so many good. Bristol was kind of another example of that as well, where they hit her on the counter. I don't know what it is. I don't want to keep ranting, but I've got nothing else to say, Luke. I don't know if you not saying take over, but I've just got nothing else to say. I'm just because otherwise I don't want to turn into the guy that praise the team, bashes the team, praise the team, bashes the team. But it feels like that at the moment.
Yeah, it feels like, what did Ant say? Death by 1,000 cuts and destined for playoffs of a scraped knee.
Yeah, pretty much.
Honestly, that remaining 4 games looks pretty scary. And I agree with Ant that I don't think a lot of them will park a bus, but at the same time, when teams press as high, we do look vulnerable sometimes, depending on the quality of the opposition. Like, I think that's where we got caught out by Leeds, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. And if you look at, again, just to bring that up again, looking at, again, just 4 results, but then there's 5th one against Blackburn as well, last game of the season. And it's pretty much all to play for. But again, we shouldn't be at this stage of the season where everything's starting to go wrong. But I'm just hoping something sorts out against Plymouth, because it's not going to be easy, Ant.
No, it's not. But I'm hoping Enzo Maresca puts an absolute rocket up this team, Plymouth, because by what's been looking on Twitter at the moment, he's not coming out and defending the players like he normally does. He's not looking happy. So,
yeah, I think pretty much I'm with you, and I would stay, but otherwise it's going to be depression FC here, because I've got nothing positive to say. Anything to, again, we're going to finish up, Luke, but again, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. Have you got any thoughts at all, or any final thoughts before we finish?
Yes, we talked about him watching the game. I thought that Eunice was a bright spark. I thought he looked good in that first half. He offered a lot. Read the ball well. I made some great passes. Did well to nearly get a goal. Not a goal, but that run he made in that first half, where he got the ball, passed it off, and then kept running onto it with the second effort, I thought was brilliant. So I thought it was great to see him get a start after his assist, and I would like to see him get played more. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
It doesn't matter.
I get the point you're making. I just thought Fatu looked. I think Fatu stretched the defence a lot more.
I guess, but I think that he offers something bright. It's the first time we've seen him on that left-hand side. I think he was tidy. I think that's the word to describe him. There was just in that first half, it wasn't just him. We were just missing that killer with the Vardy, with the opportunity. Mavididi hit one wide. There was just a couple of opportunities where it's just short. And again, I'm hoping that Enzo comes out and says it how it is, because he knows, again, and he doesn't want this on his reputation as well. And any other final thoughts before we finish up?
On to Plymouth. I just can't let this drag on.
We can't. And thank God there's one coming out soon.
Need to call it a bad day at the office again.
Yeah, I'm with you. But yeah, thanks everybody. We'll be back on for the Plymouth game on Friday night. So make sure you tune in then. Make sure you check out Ant's channel. We did the live stream on it. Luke, you say you got a video coming out soon on your channel as well?
No, I was just talking at my ass.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, like, subscribe, make sure you stuff these guys down in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next video. So goodbye.